My sisters and brothers, a reading from the Holy Gospel according to St. Luke.
Glory to you, O Lord.
And Jesus said to the crowd, "When you see a cloud rising in the west, you say immediately that it is going to rain, and so it does. And when you notice that the wind is blowing from the south, you say that it is going to be hot, and so it is. You hypocrites, you know how to interpret the appearances of the earth and the sky. Why do you not know how to interpret the present time? Why do you judge for yourselves what is right? If you are to go with your opponent before a magistrate, make an effort to settle down the matter on the way. Otherwise, your opponent will turn you over to the judge, and the judge hand you over to the constable, and the constable throw you into the prison. I say to you, you will not be released until you have paid the last penny." My sisters and brothers, the good news of our salvation.
Praise to you, O Lord Jesus Christ.
Good morning, my sisters and brothers. Our gospel for today, my sisters and brothers, is all about reading the signs of our times. Let's face also our reality that in the end, we have so many questions in our life. We are always begging the Lord to give us the answer, for us to be able to know what is the right road to take, what is the right decision, where should I go, what will I say, and many other things. We are always begging the Lord to give us the right word and also the correct action to take so that we may not commit any mistake, especially in our own lives. My sisters and brothers, the Lord is in a way so disappointed in our gospel reading for the day, even to the point that calling us hypocrites, because answers are everywhere. But unfortunately, we do not know how to read those signs in front of us because we don't want to see. I do not know what is the reason. But in reality, signs are everywhere, but we do not know how to read the signs of times. I guess, my sisters and brothers, in my own experience as a Jesuit priest, I can say right now that I will not be here talking in front of you, presiding this Mass, if I have failed to read the signs given to me by God, whether I will become a married person or a Jesuit priest. Many years ago, I remember entering into what we call crossroads, wherein I'm supposed to decide married life or to become a priest. Come to think of it, my sisters and brothers, I'm so thankful to the Lord that I was able to read the signs of the times or the signs inside me to be able to make the right decision. Sa handaan, ang tawag po natin sa Tagalog, di po ba tayo kapag tayo naglalakad o dumadaan sa isang kalye o isang kalsada at nagkaroon ng tinatawag nating maraming daan or sangandaan, ang unang tanong agad natin, nasaan yung tanda kung saan ka gusto magpunta? I need to know the signs. But before I can even know that this is the right direction, I need to know also where I want to go. Diba? Napaka-simple lang naman po yan eh. Kasi sabi mo, naglalakad ka, and then suddenly, out of the blue, merong nakalagay to Cubao, to Manila, to Quezon City. Kung hindi ko alam kung saan ako pupunta, lahat ay posibleng daan. Kailangan maging malinaw sa atin, sisters and brothers, kung saan mo gustong dalhin ang buhay mo. Maybe in general. In other words, during that time, I realized that I want to become a happy person, a person full of love, a person whom I can say that I have used my life for the service of God, for the fulfillment of God's will. Yun po yung aking hinahanap. At yun yung malinaw na malinaw sa akin. Pero ang tanong kasi, saan nga ba yung signs? When you are, when you are journeying in the external journey, the signs are in the externals. But when you are, in a way, searching for your own happiness, searching for the meaning of your life, searching for the significance of your life or your purpose in life, the signs are not outside. The signs are inside. So it is important for us to pause for a while, stop for a while, reflect, and also pray much so that we may be able to know the signs, because it is really written in big, bold letters inside us where we are supposed to go. So this is something that we need to consider, my sisters and brothers. In this gospel reading, this is actually something to realize that the signs are everywhere, as I have said. But unfortunately, we do not know how to unlock all the secrets, all the signs, all those meanings that we are actually confronting. I can even say, my sisters and brothers, that this pandemic is a huge signs. The pandemic is also what we call a sangandaan or a crossroad. The pandemic is basically telling us something that everything is passing by. Telling us something right now that everything that we possess right now can be totally useless if we become sick of these illnesses called virus. That's why signs are very important, that everything is passing by. If I realize that everything is passing by, reading that sign, I realize that I need to think of things that will last forever, things that I can carry over, things that I can say that it will always be with me. Yun po yung dapat nating hanapin na tanda, sisters and brothers, to unlock all those secrets in front of the signs being given to us. Nandiyan na sa harapan mo, pero kung ang hinahanap mo ay ang iyong tunay na kaligayahan, meaning ng buhay mo, saan mo dadalhin ang buhay mo, anong dapat gawin sa buhay mo, kung kutob mo, medyo nasira yung buhay mo, paano mo aayusin, then it's not in the outside, it's in the inside. So, what is the key to unlock all these signs? I guess, my sisters and brothers, there are 3 important keywords for your own consideration in terms of unlocking all those signs in front of you to be able to interpret. 3 words. First is reflection. The second one is relishing, or pondering, and the third word is discernment. So, reflection, pondering, and discernment. Without those 3, my sisters and brothers, it will be very, very difficult for us to interpret the signs in front of us. You need to reflect. You need to ponder what you have seen in front of you, but at the same time also discern, because there are so many concerns and options in our own life that I need to prioritize which is the most important. Unfortunately, if there's a key, there's also an enemy. And our enemy in reading the signs of times is because we are so impatient. No? Masyado po tayong laging nagmamadali sa lahat ng bagay. But at the same time also, we do not know how to stop and reflect. We are always running. We do not know how to slow down and reflect and relish or ponder something in front of us in terms of knowing the things, especially our own experiences, unlocking our own experiences to know the meaning of our own experiences. Yung po yung problema masyado tayo nagmamadali. Kaya kung titingnan po natin talaga ang ating buhay, my sisters and brothers, karamihan sa mga mistakes o mga pinagsisisihan natin or regrets in our own life is basically the result of our own rush decision. We don't slow down. We don't stop to really think about what we are supposed to do or to say to someone. Yun po yung problema. Nagmamadali po tayo. Huwag po kayo nagmamadali, sisters and brothers. At kadalasan kapag nagmamadali tayo, anong pinagdidesisyon natin sa buhay natin? Yung ating emosyon. Diba? Pag ang emosyon na nagdesisyon sa buhay natin, asahan mo, konsibisyon ang darating sa'yo. Kasi magkakamali ka. Kaya you're supposed to stop, you're supposed to slow down, you're supposed to consider that you need to be more patient in coming up to a certain decision. Relax ka lang. Pag-isipan mo ng mabuti. Para na sa ganun, mabasa mo ng maayos ang mga tanda sa pamamagitan ng paglalagay ng tatlong salamin. Reflection, pondering, and discernment. And that's very important. And then, be more aware or vigilant to the temptation of rushing. No? Sa mundong natin ito, lahat gusto nating madaliin. Hindi po. Okay. Mas madalas, ang tunay na magandang desisyon ay nasa mga mahinahong panalangin at pag-iisip. Now, but when you look at the signs right now, sisters and brothers, we need also to consider that there are two important things that in a way God is actually really talking to us. No? The first is in the nature and creation. No? According to Saint Augustine, the nature or creation is the first book written by God. No? Ito yung unang librong isinulat ng ating Diyos upang sabihin sa atin, mahal kita. Maganda po, binabalikan ko to, sisters and brothers, kasi marami po sa atin ngayon, lalong-lalo na po sa gitna ng pandemya, ang katanungan, bakit tayo pinabayaan ng Diyos? Well, read the signs of times. You are just reading the pandemic, but you are not reading the first book of God written for us, which is basically the nature or creation. Minsan nakatitig tayo sa isang napakaliit na problema compared sa creation na ginagawa ng ating Panginoon. Hindi ko po sinasabing maliit ang pandemya, pero pag ikinumpara mo ang pandemya sa laki ng ating mundong ginagalawan na punong-puno ng kalikasan at ang ng Diyos, masasabi mo, hindi ka naman talaga pinababayaan ng Diyos. Kailangan isip natin, minsan ganun, nakafocus talaga sa mga bagay na maliliit lang o masakit, katulad nga ng pandemya. Kaya read, first, sisters and brothers, don't just read the sign of pandemic, which is telling us that everything is passing by. Look around and see your environment, your creation, telling you God is actually always with us. Basahin po natin ang libro ng kalikasan. This is one of the first sign that the Lord is actually with us. The second book that the Lord written for us is the Holy Scriptures. Nagbabasa ka ba ng Biblia? Naghahanap ka ng sagot sa tanong mo, sa problema mo. Naghahanap ka ng guidance sa buhay mo. Pero hindi ka naman nagbabasa ng Biblia. Dalawang libro yung hindi natin binabasa na punong-puno ng tanda ng pag-ibig ng Diyos sa atin. Ang libro ng kalikasan at ang libro ng banal na kasulatan, hindi po talaga natin binabasa. That's why we are not trained in reading the third book, which is the most difficult book to read. And this is the book of our experience. Yung po yung pinakamahirap. Para bang level 1, book 1, kalikasan. Level 2, read the Bible. Pag hindi mo kaya, hindi ka marunong at sanay magbasa ng book 1 and book 2, paano ka pupunta sa book 3? Reading the signs of the times in your own experiences. Ito po yung pinakamahirap basahin. Pero, di ba hindi ka pwedeng pumunta ng grade 3 kung hindi ka nag-grade 1 at grade 2? Di ba hindi ka papapasukin sa grade 3 kung hindi ka pumasa ng grade 2? Ganoon din po dito sa ating spirituality, sisters and brothers. And so it is important for us now to consider the importance of how to develop the skills in reading the signs of times. No? Kanina po I tried to enumerate, considering also my own experience, why I realized right now that I am a priest, that I made the right decision because I decided to read the signs of times inside me. No? Yun po talaga. Ano po yung what are the skills that we need to develop in order to be able to read the signs of the times, no? Ito po yung mga dinaanan ko po na masasabi niya, oo nga, no, ito yung pito po yung naisulat ko kanina nung ako'y gumagawa ng humilya, na nakikita kong naging dahilan din kung bakit marami ako mga desisyon sa buhay na tama. Dahil binasa ko yung signs of times. No? Binasa ko yung mga tanda Ang problema po kasi sa tanda, tanda lang yan, pero hindi ka rin sigurado, yan nga ba? Kaya nga merong certain level of a demand for faith that you trust the sign because the signs are just signs going to your direction. So you need faith. And so, in my own experiences or experience to become a priest, and right now, even in anything that I do in terms of my own discernment, I recognize that there are 7 important points for consideration to be able to have the skills to read the signs of time. Number 1, we need to develop, my sisters and brothers, our spiritual life. In other words, never sacrifice your prayer every day. Even if you are so busy, you need to make sure that you have at least 1 hour prayerful reflection, meditation every day. Napakalaga po ng dasal. Kasi ang panalangin ko po, sisters and brothers, is basically our own disposition to read the signs of times. So, number 1, develop the skill, your spiritual life. Number 2, I realize also the importance of developing also our own skills in listening to silence. Madali pong makinig sa mga bagay na naririnig. Pero mahirap makinig sa mga bagay na hindi mo naririnig at kadalasan dito nagsasalita ang Diyos. Remember Elijah? Earthquake came, no? Wind came, typhoon came, and then there's no God, and then suddenly in the silence, the Lord spoke to him in silence. We need to listen, my sisters and brothers, and learn the skills of listening to silence. But in order for us to become silent, we need to slow down and stop and be silent, including our own silence in our own worries and anxiety. Sa isip po kasi natin, kung sa labas ang mga nagbibigay ng ingay, dito po sa amin, no, madalas ang ingay dito, mga bitchoke. Minsan hindi kami magkarinigan sa dami sa bitchoke. Pero alam niyo po, sa loob, ang tunay na ingay, hindi bitchoke. Ang tunay na ingay sa loob, anxiety, fear, doubt. Yan yung ingay. At dahil puno-puno ka ng anxiety and fear, ang lakas-lakas, hindi mo tuloy narinig yung Diyos sa katahimikan. Yun ang ingay sa loob. Anxiety, fear, doubt. So, learn the skill of listening to silence. Number 3, develop also, sisters and brothers, your own art or skills in the discernment of spirits. When you are actually every day in your own life, when you are deciding something, the good spirit and the bad spirit will always be there trying to get your own focus and attention. Be more aware and be more vigilant not to listen to the bad spirit and listen to the good spirit. Anything that will enter into your mind and will bring joy and peace to you, listen to that. Anything that will enter into your mind and will bring sadness, confusion, doubt, don't listen to that because it is coming from the bad spirit. Okay, so learn the art of discernment. Number 4, we need also to develop our capacity to ponder the scriptures. Don't just read the scriptures. Don't just listen to the scripture. Ponder it. In other words, sisters and brothers, nguyain mo, namnamin mo ang salita, no? Palabasin mo sa salita ang lahat ng mga sustansyang pwedeng lumabas sa salita. Ako nga po nagugulat no? Ako po ay almost 17 years as a priest, no? Pero I realize that every time I look at the gospel to ponder it, pag inuya ko po, inuya ko po siya, meron po ako nakikitang bago. Yung mga pinag-uusapan natin sa gospel reading, homily, di po ba pare-pareho naman yung gospel reading? Pero ewan ko ba, may inunguya ko siya everyday, meron ako nakikitang iba, may bagong lasa, may bagong hindi ng consolation sa akin. Kaya nga, ponder the scripture, nguyain mo ng dahan-dahan, huwag kang mamadali. It's not about many, but it is more on much. Number 5, develop also the skills of learning different types of prayer. Ano ba yung mga prayer niyan? St. Ignatius will say that there's this what we call oral prayer or formula prayer. Our Father, Hail Mary, Rosary, Novena. Learn the art of it. But we need also to learn other types of prayer, like meditation, contemplation, lectio divina, and many other forms. Learn because it is a way of listening also and disposing ourselves to be able to read the signs of time. Number 6, we're supposed to learn also the develop of slowing down and stopping because we are always in a rush. Lagi po tayo nagmamadali. Especially when you are busy, learn to stop. Especially when you realize that na medyo umiikli na yung pasensya mo, madali ka nang magagalit sa mga tao. Alam mo, nagkakalat-kat, slow down, pause, stop, because this is also very important to listen to the Lord because we cannot hear Him when we are so full of anxiety. Number 7 and the last one, I realize, sisters and brothers, that we need to develop, the most important thing is to develop our relationship with God, especially with the Holy Spirit, to guide us, and for us to be able to know and interpret the signs being in front of us. This is something that we need to consider, especially in the midst of this COVID virus. Signs are everywhere, and we need to do something about it. We realize that people are suffering. This is basically a sign. We realize that even in the midst of this pandemic, there are people who are dying because of COVID, and yet we realize also there are also lots of recoveries and also healing coming in. And this is also a sign that the Lord is actually there. The mere fact that we are also, this COVID virus is also a reality, that it is also a sign that we are not also taking good care of our own environment. The realization that there are so many natural calamities which we do not know before, but they are now here, is also a sign telling us that we may also be also abusing our own creation. Sisters and brothers, it's everywhere. That's why for St. Ignatius of Loyola, it is important for us to have or to pray for the gift of seeing God in all things. In other words, our own capacity to read the signs of times in everything. Your friend, your family, the mere fact that you are breathing right now, the mere fact that you can hear me right now, the mere fact that we have food to eat right now, that we can still have smell and touch, is actually all signs that God is actually with us. My sisters and brothers, the Lord is actually true to us right now in this gospel reading when He said, "You hypocrites," because you know what you're supposed to do. You know what you're supposed to choose. You know your direction. Don't be hypocrites. Don't allow your fear to blind you not to see the signs in front of you. Certain humble disposition is necessary. But we need to stop. We need to reflect. We need to ponder. We need to discern. Because there are so many options inside us, in front of us. But if we know how to stop and slow down and read the signs inside us, you will never ever commit a mistake, especially if you seek the will of God. Because the will of God is actually, must always be our direction so that we may be able to read what signs that we need to read in order to be able to go to the will of God. And the will of God is always our happiness. Search the will of God and you will find your happiness.